Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hand of Fate 2. There's something interesting here that the credits are in the menu, um, and seems like they don't even scroll automatically for their own worth. You just have to sit there and hold the right stick. I kind of like that though. So often the credits just scroll by. So if you actually were looking for a specific name, you couldn't pause on it and see. Um, but it does also give off the feeling that they kind of know most players won't ever make it to the end of the game, and thus the credits shouldn't be there. Although, if you were to compare that to like movies, there is also that weirdness certainly around the fact that some celebrities, the director, the producer, they get their names in the credits at the beginning of movies, and then all the people that the rich and powerful people don't really care about, the third stand-in character in the back, the gophers, the technical assistants, the audio boom mic holders, all of them get their credits squeezed at the very end of the movies, and often are sped through as fast as possible. And so there is an inequity certainly there. So I ran into what I assume is a vampire character in the first half of this scenario, and it definitely seems like it's going to take at least 2 episodes per scenario. And I let the vampire feed on me until I almost was completely out of health. And so we will get like 5 health every time we move to a new card, eating a piece of food as long as we have food. But my health is going to be low, and so there's a high chance of failure here due to my silliness. We have no gold. We have no... So what we could do here is sell equipment, which that might work. I have the cardinal blade right now, so we can sell our shield like that for 5, and then we could sell the knight shield, because we're not going to play with that. We're going to stick with the cardinal blade that we have equipped until we can use its special ability multiple times. And yeah, it definitely feels like you're just going to have to keep on using the same weapons over and over again to upgrade them, which inherently might mean that you're going to find really powerful items and weapons and give up on the process of unlocking the special abilities of other items in favor of shifting your focus to those new items. But that's as much as I think I would want to sell. And then healing, for that we can get 10 life. Okay. And we can't do anything else, but that does push us into a better position. Now we have arm wrestling. You enter a competition of strength at a fair, a gold prize is available to the winner, which maybe means I could go back and buy even more healing. And now, theoretically, they were saying you get an extra dice for every soldier recruited. So we have like 7 soldiers, so the dice roll on this should win. Absolutely. In the second round of competition, you sit opposite to the age frame of Huntley Toothless. He boasts about once being the sponsor for the Thieves Guild. Yeah. To me, it seems like, though, that's not the case. We still just have 3 dice and 2 rolls. So we haven't increased the rolls, nor have we changed the dice in any way, so I don't know what they're talking about. To get to 12, you're going to have to get fairly lucky. And I managed to do it. But it's only going to be a higher number next time. Huntley crumbles in defeat almost instantly. You're lucky I'm not 20 or 30 years younger, he says, grumbling. So there's 10 gold. And another 10 gold. You take your reward from the purser on the way out of the tavern. When you return, you will compete in the next round for a larger prize. And I would imagine... Okay, we can't go back to the merchant, unfortunately. I'd imagine eventually that card is just going to evolve to something where you always win or you always get gold.
They got themselves into this mess. I don't see why you should get them out.
Okay. Find some Imperial soldiers strung up by Northerners. Let's go ahead and just pay to free them. Pay 10 gold to free two, and recruit them, yes. So our recruits are now up to 9 soldiers.
Ah, a reward for a job well done.
This is a debt repaid. A holy man approaches you and greets you warmly. Greetings, friends, you're here just as the master said you would be. So this is the reward from the vampire. So we never knew where that card was going to be, but this probably is going to just heal me either by the same amount of health that he took or just to 100 or even up to 105. At some point we bumped up to 105 max health, it seems. My talents lie at your disposal. Have you any need for healing? We will accept. We get 35 life. We get 25 life. We get 15 life. We get another 10 life. So that does feel like that was pretty much all the life that was sucked out of me. And so now we are in a much better position. I'm glad to have fulfilled my master's wish to help you this day. The man bids you farewell.
Age turns us all. She has done rather better than I in the time that has passed.
Walking through the shady forest, you encounter a frail old maiden. She stops to greet you. For centuries, I've helped mortals who find themselves lost in my forest. Is there anything that may help you with your journey? We could ask for supplies. We could ask for a longer life. We don't probably need that. We could ask for gold. We probably don't need that. So let's go with supplies. This should sustain you for a few days, she says, squinting at you with tired eyes. So we get some extra food. And unless we just go to a third scenario, and that there isn't just a boss fight, I would assume, in the top right corner.
In my day, thieves kept their distance. None would pickpocket a mage for fear of failure, or worse, success.
But yeah. If we have to go further, maybe I would need more gold, but I don't think we do. The market bazaar is a hive of activity. Traders from across the lands call out to passerbys to sell their wares. As the sun beats down on the crowded streets, you pause briefly to draw water from a fountain. So, eventually, in a game like this, we're going to see these cards, and then I'm going to just go quiet and stop reading what they say, because we'll just have such familiarity with the cards that we'll know what they do. That is also true for things like Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon, those kinds of trading card games where you just by seeing the character know what they do when you gain a certain amount of familiarity with them. Although in fairness, I would imagine you can only be familiar with so many cards in something like Yu-Gi-Oh! Which has like 10,000 cards. So you wouldn't have memorized everything. And in Yu-Gi-Oh! In particular, they have attack and defense points, so you would focus heavily on the attack and defense points of a card, and then read whatever effect they have secondarily. These cards effectively have no attack and defense points, they just have an effect. You feel something tug on the inside of your tunic. Turning quickly, you discover a pickpocket making off with some of your belongings. So 10 gold. You jump to your feet and catch a glimpse of the thief as they weave through the crowd. So 2 failures, 1 huge success, 1 success. There, we failed. The tangled maze of people proves too much for you and the thief makes their escape. Because we failed, we don't get that coin. So we'll have to encounter that encounter again later.
Now your chance presents itself. At last, stand in the defense of the peasantry. What noble traits you display already.
So we have 9 soldiers. That seems like that would have been the maximum. Are we really going to have 9 soldiers fighting with us in an actual fight sequence? I don't think so. We're probably... They said it was about rolling dice, but I just don't see where the dice roll is happening. Atop the West End Town Hall is a large bell tower. It's used to signal the day's end for the workers in the mines and surrounding fields, but now it will summon West Wind's defenders. Do you wish to summon the soldiers you have recruited? Yes. We have nothing else we can do anyways. As night cloaks West End, you can sense the corruption rising from the shadows all around you. You survey any soldiers you've managed to recruit. So, you have a 4 of steel, a 4 of steel, and a 1 of steel, which does highlight that they've only made art up to the number 4 for these kinds of fighters. And we've seen, I think maybe 3 or 4 different types of suits, this being steel being the suit here. And so I imagine that does probably imply that at most there's probably 6 or 7 different types of enemies or allies you can have in this game, as far as the 3D models they've made, or their fighting styles. For each new fighting style you would want to add, you'd ideally balance it to the other fighting styles, which gets exponentially more difficult as you add more and more suits, more styles. You'd have to add more equipment or more effects.
I turn my errors around in my mind, time on time. I know where I failed and where you must not.
Okay. So we have the Blight of Terror as a special boss character, then 4 of Blight, then 3 of Blight. So we are theoretically going to have 17, 18, 19 people in the same area, and those areas aren't very big, because we also will have our companion character and ourselves in the mix. Let's give a rousing speech. I just hit A without actually reading that. Apologies. Soldiers appear unmoved by your words and remain tense and fearful. Well, we tried with the rousing speech. I don't think that would have really done too much different. Maybe it would have given an actual status effect. The Terror of West End. As the final vestiges of humanity are erased, the Terror awakes. Use a bash to break the Terror's corrupted armor and defeat it with a finisher before it regenerates. They've said before you have to defeat them with finishers, but it doesn't seem like that really is the case. Or it may be that the special ability and finishers are just different things, particularly on easy mode. We are at full strength. So you can see this guy has really hard armor. Which maybe means I should have had an axe on him. So we have like a massive amount of whoops. Yeah, my health is high enough I can just kind of let him knock me down. But, yeah, really large amount of people. Camera angle really doesn't let you swing around to focus on that one character. No auto camera focusing on
mighty
the last
creature
one.
of chaos felled by your power. Does it satisfy you? This bloodshed?
So,
Knowing those you destroy were once simple peasants going about their day.
almost certainly that monologue is unique to this scenario, and you'll never hear it again. And it doesn't seem like we're going to get any major reward for saving all 9 recruit soldiers. And honestly, on easy mode, they didn't help that much. For the most part, after 3 or 4 people, they just don't have the good enough programming or pathfinding to get in there and attack. If anything, I would kind of think it would make more sense to have a evolution system happen where if you have, say, 9 soldiers, that would then level up to just 3 level 3 soldiers. And if you had 3 soldiers, that would just level up to 1 level 3 soldier. That way there's just less soldiers on the field and less programming and animation you have to do. It becomes less of a messy visual. So we've won, and I guess that's just going to be it. Once the corrupted behemoth falls, the rest of the minions flee. Their spirits broken, the soldiers erupt in cheers, praising your valor. You can now rest until morning, ready to greet the reinforcements with a town already saved.
The magician returns to the deck, but now we only begin our stories of fate, folly, and magic. Do not think I'm satisfied with this, but at least we have a place to begin. Now you have learned the simplest of ways to build your deck. Each challenge will provide its own unique trials. Here are some more tools to keep you in good stead.
So we are into the 4th episode of this series already, and we're still really getting tutorialized, which it's not terrible to just always have some new content unlocking throughout the entirety of a gameplay, but in this case I think they're gonna lean heavily on that, maybe a little too heavy. So we now have a ruby ring, a valiant aegis, which I think is a shield, and a winter's bane sword for saving the town. We also have 5 new event cards: a man-eating tree, gnomish exchange, the lost boy, the pauper plague, and the West End Tavern. And so it's really going to come down to a situation where each scenario is going to have to require me to use more and more cards, otherwise I'm never going to pick man-eating tree or pauper plague in favor of upgrading Lost Boy or getting the rewards from Gnomish Exchange and West End Tavern. We may find that once we have the rewards from Gnomish Exchange and West End Tavern, they may not be as good event cards, and so you may not want to play it. This does open up more possibilities too, that you could make a run very difficult on yourself or very easy just based on the event cards you pick. These coins still feel very weird that they are in fact chests. For giving your life to save an injured shadow beast, we get the knight sword. That would have been the vampire. I guess they're calling them shadow beast. I'm pretty sure that may have been a DLC event.
As you play, you will find more options open to you. Should you find yourself blocked or overly challenged, take the time to explore the board. Unlocking cards will give you options you have not yet considered.
And that's great and all. Unfortunately, they should have opened that out before I even finished the full, because I nearly rage quit this game just because I couldn't beat the full on normal difficulty. And we definitely aren't at a point where I would choose to raise the difficulty out of apprentice mode just into normal mode again. I'm gonna play the whole game that way. We still seem to have not completed enough challenges to do anything. We could check the campfire just to see if we've unlocked any new visuals. The campfire is not in the forest this time. And it does seem like you can just straight up change from male to female in this option, and you can't in the other options, which is interesting. So let's look at what it all looks like if we're gonna go that route. Let's see, with male characters you can have almost the exact same hairstyles but slightly different. So this feels like a very Asian inspired hairstyle. So if I said instead I was from like this country, would the hairstyles change? No. It really isn't changing much, is it? And the color palettes aren't any different. It really doesn't feel any different. Alright. So we'll change our total appearance. But yeah, we're not unlocking any new appearances. So that it does seem fairly pointless. We have enough time to at least start the High Priest, so
there is the small game, the game we play, and there is the great game, the game of life and death, the game I was once master of.
So for the High Priestess, we collect blessings in order to reach the ritual house at the summit of Mount Fiendish and negotiate a treaty with the Northerners there. There's a tribute. You gain blessings to increase your chance of success. The Northern honor. Do not expect to be welcomed by Northerners whilst treading in their lands. And campfire. Survive Mount Fiendish by restoring life at camp. We still only have one companion. We have to complete the Empress to unlock other companions. So there is an argument to go back and see if we can do the Empress first. Let's just do this in order though. So once you complete Empress, there'll be 4 companions on top of these DLC companions. So for encounters, we definitely would want all of these. And that just continues to leave us with no real reason to want to play these other scenarios. We would want to at least do the new cards once first. Now, the ones we have done, if we press Y to inspect, we know you may gain life, food, gold, or max life in this card. Yeah. There's a chance of a thieves' ambush, even though we haven't seen that happen in the distressed damsel. And the equipment can't be changed before combat. Dice might be influenced by deep water. You may gain life. Results are influenced by completing the quest. You may trade life for rewards. Interesting. And in a friend in need in particular, that unlocks another card. And I guess that's what the quest symbol means, is that it adds a card to your quest. Which also probably means that you won't encounter one of the 6 encounters, in this case, that you picked. Or you won't encounter a random encounter otherwise. We have done our special ability on this card 5 out of 10 times, so we'll want that. Then I think we'll probably want the ring, and Valiant Aegis is new, so we might as well try it. You really don't have that much as far as cards go. Then supplies is weirdly a knight's sword. I don't know why this sword in particular is considered supplies. Supplies provide a unique benefit that applies at the start of your journey. Whereas fill your deck with equipment cards, these are items that can be acquired on your journey. So you're starting with the knight's sword. And then you can upgrade to the cardinal sword, which is what we would want to have happen. Okay, so let's start the next scenario.
You find yourself once again in the company of prayer and religion. How unfortunate.
2 rewards that time.
Now it begins. Negotiations on behalf of the Empire. We will see how that story ends.
So, I wouldn't be surprised if now all 3 of the events are a little bit more difficult, even on easy mode. And so we might very well run into some struggle. Malaclips has somehow roped you into traveling deep into the far north on a diplomatic mission. While I usually refrain from working for the Empire since this one takes me further away from it, I've made an exception. It'll square my debt with General Brandstrom and help open many doors for you. What do you say? I guess once again we can ask questions, ask how you can help. As you know, I have a great many skills, but my swordsmanship is unlikely to hold up against northern raiders. I know no one else who is more up to the task. Ask about the leader of the raiders. There are many clans dotted around, but the supposed leader of all of them is the High Priestess who lives up there. Malaclips points to the top of the soaring mountain before you. Now, we changed our character to a male character, and I don't believe the little figurine changed in any way. I think it always was a generic male warrior character. Ask more about the mission. General Branson instructed me to not come back until I talk to the High Priestess of the North and offer the terms of a treaty, he explains. So you don't have a choice to not join. Excellent. Bring your sword and let me do the talking, says Malaclips. I've brought plenty of supplies so we can set up camp when we get hungry. 25 food is quite a lot. Nice little glow effect on the card, although perhaps not that helpful since we don't see cards that often. Malaclips shares a tidbit as you commence your journey. The High Priestess is quite partial to blessings. If you can prove yourself worthy, we'd have a better chance at swaying her in our favor. Access the campfire at any time between encounters. The camp can be used to consume food, to restore life, or trade equipment. Collect at least 6 blessings before meeting the High Priestess. Okay. You grit your teeth and begin the ascent. Right, so, if figuratively the mountain is going upward, this is probably going downward.
Not every temple has crumbled into the dust, more's the pity.
The Temple of Divine Providence provides blessings in exchange for a simple gold donation. We have 10 gold, and we have now a 4th type of card, which I assume are blessings. And so it seems like the game will expand and we'll just have more and more cards in the lower left. But the card metaphor, particularly for life and gold and things like that, is kind of silly. That they're focusing too much on making everything be card based for no reason. So yes, we will make a donation. Let's see. And then I guess we can pick whatever we want. Let's go with Gold Zealot. Let's see. We have plenty of food. And so that would eliminate these two. Beggar's Charm would be interesting. Maybe we should go with that. Or Heroic Sacrifice. I don't think we want to do that. Let's go with Beggar's Charm. Gain up to 20 gold at the beginning of a new map if you have less than 20 gold. Any number of blessings can be equipped at a time. Well, we can actually look at what each of these do. Receive plus 15 life for every gold gain card you receive. Okay. Receive plus 2 for every dice gambit. We're not going to have to do that many. If your max life is less than 150, you may discard food gain or equipment gain cards to receive plus 5 max life. So almost certainly you get an achievement for getting your life up to 150. And then prior to combat with 2 or more monster cards, optionally discard a basic monster card but lose your companion for 3 turns. That might be helpful later on. Let's go with Beggar's Charm now. Now weirdly, that feels like I lost 6 coins. You leave with your new blessing because... Oh, I did. I bought the blessing for 6 coins. And so now when I leave an area of the map to a new map, which I assume means when they deal new cards on the table, and we go to the second half of a section, I'll get 20. So the hope here is that we can get blessings without having to actually pay for the rest of the remaining 4 cards. We've already done the Market Thief, so we can kind of skip that, and he takes 10 coins, but we didn't even have 10 coins. And let's just see if we can get huge success this time. Nope, failure again. And there's just no point in spending any real time as far as deciding which card to pick. It is pretty much just random.
Your companion has his own story to tell. We must wonder if this is a tale of a hero or a villain.
See, this is a card with a special item in the corner, which probably means something. That it is always related to your companion character that you have equipped, I would assume. You arrive at the city markets to meet with Malaclips' associates. You find him sitting on a blanket by the sewer gates. You can't tell whether he's a goblin, a human, or an animate pile of greasy rags. A few wilted daisies and duckweed tied with rope are flopped on the ground around him. Merc, Malcolm calls to the creature, arms outstretched. I have a favor to ask of you, my handsome friend. The greasy goblin man raises his hand to stop the bard's prattle. 10 gold first. You know that. Malcolm looks at you expectantly, say you don't have enough gold. I don't have enough gold, so it's not even a lie. The goblin man looks affronted. Malcolm places his consoling hand on him. Don't be mad, he doesn't know about how our kind work. Mark crosses his arm and turns his back to you. Malcolm makes some soothing noises. Look here, Mark. We'll be back before you know it with the gold, okay? So, without gold, that event doesn't occur.
The mountain itself pushes you back.
So we have to find the Ascension card. It's not just at the top. Interesting. We still don't have enough gold for this. So, I imagine we're not going to be able to move that story forward.
Be careful where one takes refuge, even in the worst of storms. With
a little warning, a snowstorm sweeps in from the north. Snow whips against you like shards of glass and obscures your vision. You struggle to find cover. This could be a huge failure. We've already taken health damage. Huge failure. It's just 5 alive though. The climb becomes unbearable. You seek shelter in a cave and desperately fight off the onslaught of frostbite. You're alerted to the sound of shuffling footsteps. You can barely make it out the silhouettes of the menacing figures who have invaded your shelter. They're not the sort you want to be in such close quarters with. So when we move with the 25 food, I assume we would regain some of our health. So being at 70 out of 100 is not terrible. Of course, this fight might change things. It does still feel like this animation lags as it's trying to load things in. And these raiders are not really what I was expecting. From the frozen darkness of the north, far north they come. Northerners can perform combo attacks. Users pause it with single-handed weapons to deal extra damage immediately after you defend.
Don't let them hit me! I'm too handsome for violence.
And there I did a finisher on that guy before I could do my special ability. It still all feels very button mashy. As the blizzard eases, the intruders make their escape. Malcolm forges for firewood, saying this log is dry enough. We can set up camp here for the night. Access the campfire anytime between encounters. The campfire can be used to consume food. So how do you make camp? It's not in the inventory, from what I can tell. So you have to be at this point and you have to hit the Y button to make camp.
Campfires will always offer warmth and heat, but they also change with each challenge. Be prepared.
Figure appears from out of a swirl of frost and snow. It is a northerner. I come in peace, he says. I make the pilgrimage to the high priestess. I mean you no harm. Without waiting for your approval, he slumps down beside you and warms his hands by the fire. So, in my youth, I once fancied a northerner warrior. She almost cut off my head when I serenaded her. Malcolm plucks a mournful note on his lute. Young love, hey. So, we can cook food, which definitely seems like that would be a wise thing to do. How much food should we really cook? I think I'm probably fairly safe at like 86. We can see if we trade things. Which we could then sell equipment. We sell the knight's sword. That would give us how much gold? 4 gold, so we'd be like 1 short. What else can we sell? Basically nothing. We can't afford the cardinal blade at 51. We don't really need to buy food. We can review the mission, although we really don't need to, so let's just break the camp. You sleep through the long cold night. In the morning, you pack your things and continue to climb up the mountain. I guess I could have sold the weapon, and then there would be a small chance that I would get like 1 gold in this last card, but if I get 1 gold in the last card, I'm just as likely to get 5 gold in the next card. Here we have arm wrestling. Again. You enter a competitive strength at a fair, the gold prize is available to the winner. Your opponent in the 3rd round is Paralee the Brass Hag. She touts herself as a fearsome pirate, but needs the money from this competition to get herself a boat. So we need basically 2 6s and a 2. That is kind of a tall order. And yet we did it. Nice. So hopefully that is the last round, and there isn't a 4th round where we have to get 16 or 17 or 18, because 18 can only be achieved by getting 3 6s. Or getting 1 more dice. 18 would still be kind of hard with 4 dice. But it is also possible that there actually isn't fair dice rolling happening here, and the game is just going to cheat in your favor the more times you lose. Eventually it's just going to let you win. The Brass Hag cannot live up to the strength of her name and slumps in defeat. You gain 2 fame. So that 4th card is a fame card. Interesting. I'm not sure what 2 fame does for us, but it doesn't seem like so far we're gaining that small reward piece. Do you now have enough gold? Decent amount of gold. You take your reward from the purser on the way out. When you return, you'll compete for the next round for a larger prize. So there is 1 more round. That
Here's
means
a
we
token
can
for you,
do this.
if you can earn it.
Let's see. So this time we can give the Goblin Man 10 gold. Malcolm steps forward as Merc counts the coins. Merkel, being the bard, looks furtively around before quickly waving at his shoulder. I require help in removing a certain illness. Merc considers Malclips for a while. That kind of information costs you more than a few coins. You sputter indignantly. I will require a test of skill from him. He turns and points at you. Pick a flower and eat it. The greasy florist displays his menagerie wares, or meager wares. That's what that says. Malclips nods as if this is a fair request. Okay. So, test of skill. If you eat a daisy, you're probably fine. If you eat a forget-me-not, I wouldn't be surprised if you forget something. Maybe a skill or a blessing. And if you eat a luminous purple flower, Maybe you get poisoned, or maybe you get a blessing. Feels like Daisy is the boring one, so let's go with luminous purple flower. Flower has a crispy burnt texture. And then we're just rolling for 15, which is again a very high number in 2 rolls. So if we re-roll this 1 and re-roll this 3, we got lucky again and got 17. Merc watches eagerly as you begin to choke. Malclip's first part shows some sign of concern. Your eyes bulge and water. Suddenly someone begins slapping you hard on the back. You cough and a hard lump falls from your mouth. It's a solid gold statue of Merc. So we got 20 gold from that. Malclip's cheers while you catch your breath. Merc nods happily with the results. He beckons Malclip's closer. Of those of us left, you should seek Ira of the Veil. She may know something of the cure. Last I heard, she's hiding out in the underneath.
Let us discover what the next chapter in our dear bard's tale will be.
So we made progress, and so there will be an evolved version of this card next time we play a map, I imagine. Oh no, not her. Malclip straightens his neck shawl nervously. The greasy goblin giggles maniacally. Yes, her. She'll likely eat your bones before she lets you speak. Now, if you excuse me, I have business to run. With that, Malclip's associate turns away and hurls a bouquet at a shocked passerby. Flowers, fresh flowers. Buy 'em or I'll eat your eyes. We've now gained 2 more fame. Although I'm uncertain what fame does for us. Okay, so let's see. As far as this Knight's Sword, we need to be doing the reposit attacks, which is going to be easier in apprentice mode because they're automatic, but that means we do need to defend, which is still kind of hard to do. It's just not the style of gameplay I'd want to play. We have 1 blessing we can see at the top left there, so that does tell me we will at some point get curses too. We could make camp and buy the other sword potentially if we made camp, but I don't think that's really worth it. And so we're in a pretty good position now. These episodes are not consistently starting at the beginning or ending of a run, but I'm trying my best to keep them somewhat the same time length and in about the same amount of progress. But I imagine as we go deeper and deeper into some of the challenges, it will be 3, 4, maybe even 5 episodes per individual run. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and keep on watching. Thanks.